name maybe mid-season. But Roger Bennett, as always, thank you. Very good to see Chelsea back up there again. Looks like they're turning things around.
May the Chicago White Sox rise again, Joe.
And may they rise again, Roger, and courage for wearing that jersey.
Okay.
Pablo, really quickly,
Yes.
the Alabama game. What was your takeaway in the Alabama-Georgia game?
My takeaway is that you did not enjoy this as nearly as much as I thought you would, Joe. For all of the 28-0 being squandered, Mika, the guy, what Mika teased is the story to me. There is a 17-year-old kid at wide receiver named Ryan Williams who is looking like nothing I've seen before at that age, at that position. Making people look like they're in a bad ninja movie, just like crashing into each other. What are we doing?
He spins.
He spins. He dances.
He spins. I've never seen the spin before.
He's singing Leo Sayer. You know I can dance. You know I can dance. I mean, have you ever? I mean, Paul Feinbaum, 17-year-old kid. That, of course, made the story fascinating from the start. But when Mika, again, a very casual observer of sports, our sport, as Roger might say, walks into the family room and immediately points and says, it's like the first time I saw Zidane play. And I just yelled, who is that? She did the same thing after seeing our 17-year-old superstar turn pirouettes and just play extraordinary. Look at this.
What's better than this play?
Literally,
there's an even better one coming up. But
makes Georgia players run into themselves. Paul, what a find.
Joe, if there's a better run coming up, I like to see it because that's one of the greatest plays I have ever seen. And yes, everybody in unison, let's all say he's only 17. That's the new drunk game in America because we heard it a few times on Saturday night. But he is, and when Saban retired, Joe, he decided to renege on his commitment. He started looking around, and he nearly went to Auburn and Georgia, but Kalen DeBoer, to his credit, was able to bring him back, and it's one of the greatest performances ever. And I know, Joe, you're a typical Alabama fan. You expect to win every game 28-0, but be thankful for this win. This was pretty precious, and it puts Alabama back at #1, which is a usual spot for Alabama, and in incredibly good shape as we navigate this new 12-team playoff.
Well, yeah, I'm grateful for the win. I also, when I was running campaigns and I was ahead by 30 points, I'd be freaking out. I mean, you never relax until it's over, and so it's early in the season. You know, but again, if I were a coach, you want to teach winning. And these guys won the biggest game on the calendar, made a lot of mistakes. If I'm a coach, I like that. I like having that to hold over their head and to replay the film over and over again. So what did you do this? What did you do that? What are we going to do? How are we going to stop this from happening next time? But DeBoer, though, I mean, it really is crazy, Paul, and then I'll let you go. He is crazy. Just the way he holds himself on the sideline. Pretty much a Zen master unless you tackle his wide receiver on an out route.
No, and listen, we knew he was good. He played in the national championship game last year and lost to Michigan. But winning at Washington is different than winning at Alabama in this setting. And this was the biggest game of the year. It may not end up being the biggest game of the year, but with everything on the line, I have never seen that before. Now, he inherited a very good football team, but still, to withstand that pressure, this game to me was a lot more about the other guy, Kirby Smart, who we all, me leading the parade, proclaimed as the new Saban, and now he's 0-1 against the guy who took Saban's place.
Well, yeah, no doubt about it. All right, thank you.
ESPN commentator Paul Feinbaum, thank you very much for being on this morning. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much, Paul. And I'm going to give you a call because I know there are a lot of people that listen to you that are big fans of Morning Joe. So let's go. Let's talk baseball now. Mike Lupica.
I got a lot of sports.
It's a lot of sports.
I didn't.
But man, I got to tell you, I'm glad the Red Sox ended up 500, ended up in third place. But the team you got to be looking at right now. I mean, Detroit, Rock City, baby. The Detroit Tigers on fire since July.
A.J. Hinch has done an unbelievable job with an incredibly young team. I looked it up the other day, Joe, that the average age of the team he threw out there last week was 25 years old. Skubal looks like the best pitcher in the world right now. Nobody, they got to play the Astros in the first round, and I think the Astros are really good and might be set up to go back to the League Championship Series again. But the wild card here, literally and figuratively, are the Detroit Tigers, who were 8 games under 500, I think still in August, and have made this kind of run to make the playoffs. And it's stunning. It's a fun story in a great baseball city.
Yeah, the Tigers' run here eclipsed what the Royals did, who lost 100 games last year and in the playoffs this year. That's never happened before either. But, Pablo, the field's not quite set, and we have an unusual doubleheader today. Braves, Mets playing 2 in Atlanta. We know Mika's rooting for the Amazons.
Yes.
And let's just set the stakes here. If they split, both teams go to the playoffs. But if one sweeps the other, the winner of those 2 games goes, as do the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are now sitting at home watching nervously here. So there's certainly been a lot of chatter and jokes about a gentleman's agreement. Hey, have a split, both go. But I think we know New York Mets fans are fearing the absolute worst.
Yeah, they're congenitally incapable of having confidence, I think, as a medical condition. And so, yeah, they're not going to sort of engineer a political compromise, John, that I think would be fascinating to see. I do like the Mets in this, though. I do like look, to me, the MLB playoffs is, as much as anything, a roulette wheel at this point, right? As you mentioned, the wild card, the short series, the fact that the best team in the regular season tends to not be the World Series champion, because if that was the case, of course, John, you know who would win this whole thing. The New York Yankees. No, the New York Yankees. That was not the answer we were looking for. That was not the answer we were looking for. It just happens to be the team with Aaron Judge batting second in front of Juan Soto. Just a modern-day Garrigan Ruth. Who's counting? We're used to this, by the way. We're used to this.
May they lose yet another divisional series. John Heilman.
Makes me stronger.
Boo. There's a reason, John Heilman, why Jets and Mets rhyme. And if you are a Mets fan, right now your head is under the bed. You are scared to death. I'm hoping for a split, but I will tell you most Mets fans are expecting the absolute worst.
Well, yeah, and Pablo over here is like, we're congenitally incapable. It's not congenital. We are students of history. We have lived. Mets fans have. Mets fans have good reason, having watched this team collapse, melt down, fall apart. It's amazing they made it through all of September, Lemire, and had held it together. They had a strong September. Normally, September is the meltdown month for the Mets. The fact they've held it together and are on the brink of making the playoffs. I do not understand. Maybe Lupica will explain this to me. Mike, why is it that the Mets and the Braves don't have a little conversation before this doubleheader and say, guys, we're going to compete like hell in game 1, and someone's going to win that game, and then whoever wins that game will then do what gentlemen would do, which is say, hey, let's just call off the second game. We'll do a walk-off. We'll forfeit game 2 to you, and we'll all take the afternoon off. Everyone will get to rest then. People got to play on Tuesday, screw the Diamondbacks. Who cares?
I think you'll see that anyway. I mean, I think you'll see that anyway because if you're the manager of, let's say, the Braves, and you win big in the first game, are you going to throw any pitchers that you're going to want to put in the next day? No.
I put Pablo Torre on the mound. I put Pablo Torre on the mound for game 2.
I put Pablo on the mound and rest my arms, Mike.
That's right.
You've all been around politics too long. This is sports. The final score actually matters. You can't say they stole it from you when the game is over. Let's just let the day unfold. It's an unusual situation. And if you're a Mets fan, yes, you do fear the worst. Mets. The game they had to win yesterday, the guy pitched brilliantly and basically kept them alive.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you're a Mets fan, what you think is you're going to lose game 1, and then the Braves are going to throw Pablo Torre, and you're still going to lose game 2.
That's what would happen, except that would be awesome, just for the record.
Okay. Mike Lupica, Pablo Torre, thank you both.
So
I think
much.
go Mets, and we'll see you all soon. Vice President Kamala Harris visited the southern border on Arizona on Friday after getting a tour and briefings from border officials. Harris gave a speech calling for tougher border security measures. The vice president also called out former President Trump's inaction on border security. Take a listen.
In the 4 years that Donald Trump was president, he did nothing to fix our broken immigration system. He did not solve the shortage of immigration judges. He did not solve the shortage of border agents. He did not create lawful pathways into our nation. He separated families. He ripped toddlers out of their mothers' arms, put children in cages, and tried to end protections for dreamers. He made the challenges at the border worse. And he is still fanning the flames of fear and division. And let me be clear, that is not the work of a leader. That is not the work of a leader. And that is, in fact, I think we all believe, an abdication of leadership.
You know, recently, border crossings lower under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris than they were when Donald Trump left office. You would never hear that on the right.
Never.
Not on the Trump right.
The Trump right, my lord, the Trump campaign, different networks, they literally change those numbers and lie about them with wild abandon. Former President Trump.
What else you also will not hear, sorry to interrupt, but it's also important that people also remember, you will also not hear that Donald Trump killed the toughest border security bill in American history. And he bragged about it. And then he said to Republicans, blame me for killing the toughest border security bill in history. A bill that was written by Oklahoma conservative James Lankford.
So here's what he's now saying. He says he didn't use his influence to have Senate Republicans vote down the bipartisan border security bill earlier this year. A lie.
Another lie.
Take a listen.
We've got video, by the way.
Take a listen to those remarks from Saturday, followed by what Trump has actually said.
She said, I'm the one that talked him out. I wish I had that ability, that I was the one that said, don't vote for it. But I do have a certain say, but I would have never voted for that bill.
I noticed a lot of the senators are trying to say respectfully, they're blaming it on me. I said, that's okay. Please blame it on me. Please. Because they were getting ready to pass a very bad bill. And I'll tell you what, a bad bill is, I'd rather have no bill than a bad bill.
I think they're making a terrible mistake if they vote for the bill. This is a terrible bill for our country.
Well, he said it was a terrible bill because it actually would hurt him politically. He did not want to give Joe Biden then and Kamala Harris credit for signing a bipartisan Republican-drafted bill. That would have been the toughest border bill ever that was actually supported by border security, by border agents. They asked that the bill pass.
And it says a lot about Republicans in office in the House and the Senate who take his orders instead of what they claim they're fighting for. So it raises questions up and down the line in terms of Trump's hold. Joining the conversation, we have the president of the National Action Network and host of MSNBC's Politics Nation, Reverend Al Sharpton, and MSNBC contributor and author of the book, How the Right Lost Its Mind, Charlie Sykes. Jonathan Lemire, Katty Kay, and John Heilemann are still with